I know.
All right. Welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. This is episode 25. I am your host, Supreme King, and I'm joined by my Pokemon defender himself, and his name is.
IGN hater on basis.
We are here. I am going to keep my promise because we're going to talk about the Pokemon performance review, specifically IGN's video that we just watched. We talked about it at the very last minute because it just broke. The video was only probably less than an hour live, and we watched it for this episode. And for just to keep it, all the way 100, the guy completely buried the game. I didn't expect him to do it.
Ooh.
I gotta go back and say, I gotta give IG a little bit of credit because I was
saying no credit. They get zero credit. But go ahead. No, you don't. Go ahead.
I gotta give them some credit on my end because I said last episode that they were in bed with the companies and that they were never going to go there with certain companies that was really big because of the affiliation with things like Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox directly. But it did not look like that's what they did for this one. You got exactly what I thought we was going to get as far as like other platforms. Because I saw a couple things on other platforms, but I didn't necessarily see this with an actual publication like IGN that was like probably, arguably still one of the higher respected ones, I guess, in the gaming community, or at least notable ones. And so my man's came on here. I don't even know who his name was, but he was the IGN guy. He did a performance review for Pokemon and trashed it from start to finish. He called it a Dreamcast game. This is a Dreamcast game. So if you buy this game, you getting a Dreamcast throwback. And he compared it to he said he compared it to the 90s, which was interesting, and he was saying the visuals and stuff is not acceptable. I do kind of agree overall, as far as just because some of the stuff was just very grainy, just from what we were seeing. I did set it to 1080p. I didn't put it at 4K to watch, but what he said at the end, I kind of agree with that too. He was like, if you're a hardcore Pokemon fan, you're probably going to ignore this anyway. And that's probably what's going to happen. But it looked like this particular game, performance-wise, is dipping a little bit too low overall. I thought it was interesting that IGN took the format from Digital Foundry. If anybody who really watches their videos, shout out to Digital Foundry. This is literally how they do their videos, where they show the frame rate thing the entire time, but their focus is usually on 60 FPS for anybody who watches their stuff, and they would compare across different platforms. Well, with this being a Nintendo exclusive, there's no other platform to compare to officially, and so it was just, they were just showing everything, and their focus was on 30 FPS, and what we were seeing was just the game just couldn't stay at 30 FPS, was what a lot of people I've seen say the same thing, I guess. And I guess it was just, it's unfortunate, I guess, just for the performance of the game and little things around it. My co-host does not appreciate this at all, which makes it kind of funny. And I guess he'll give his point in a second. And for me, I'm a little disappointed overall, because it is still, I think in the video they mentioned that for a game that's at a $50 to $60 price point, that is kind of unacceptable, the state that it's in. I agree with that. That was my main point from the last episode, because I just don't think any game after the big Cyberpunk debacle, I know that one's like the most extreme case, but from that point to now, I just feel like no game should be, in a performance wise, like that bad. Like any game could probably suck as far as its story, or if people maybe was not as good of an actor or something, or just overall it just became boring. It became boring, or it was just like ongoing. It was too repetitive, that kind of thing. That's here or there, and it's very subjective. But when you talk about just performance, it's like, well, it's like, is it really playable? It seems like it's playable at points, but when you get to like areas where it's like rendering a lot, maybe it's having issues. It actually sounds like the biggest issue is Nintendo's actual Switch OLED, Switch Lite. The way I look at it, I just kind of have to go there. It almost makes it seem like this would be one of the games I would play on the Steam Deck once I get the Steam Deck, because the main issue that the one reviewer kept mentioning over and over again was that memory was being used up. And when the memory was being used up, it tanked everything. And that's pretty common across computers and stuff. But yeah, it's a bad thing, I guess, out the gate. But my co-host has a different view. I'm gonna let him have the floor. This is his game. He went ahead and bought it day one because he is one of the hardcore fans. Me, it's just jokes. I'm just joking around with it. But yeah, go ahead, man. He's been quiet. He's furious with this guy. He didn't like the Dreamcast the Dreamcast comic because the dude straight said it's a Dreamcast
that was
game.
a trash comparison. Mind you, he said it reminds him of a Dreamcast game. Showed off the Dreamcast game, and it clearly was not on the same. Like, it was lower. Like, come on, it was lower.
I thought that was the most hilarious part.
It was funny, but like he was all serious about it.
Yo.
That was trash. Okay.
Shout out to Sonic Adventures 1. I think that's what that was. But go ahead.
First of all, should it be having any sort of like glitches or stuttering stuff? No. And even though we can blame Nintendo hardware, it's not like this was about to be on like a whole nother system. Game Freak should know what it's on and kind of understand the limitations of what they can and can't do. Right? But unfortunately, they can't move on to like all like extra like high texture amazing stuff that they want to do with the amount of stuff that they try to do for the Pokemon stuff for whatever reason because of the limitations of the hardware, right? But that's more on, to me, that's a mix between the limitations on Nintendo along with just Game Freak not really trying on their end for like pushing it without like overdoing it. With that said, this is why I don't trust IGN reviews like at all for any of them. So like he had me at first when he was talking about like the stuttering, the like frame rate drops, and the like not being able to keep up and things like that.
Yeah.
Although one of the main examples where he was like, as you can see here, and he was talking about it, it was like a little video where you're meeting one of the legendaries. I personally didn't see anything wrong. I saw the grainy stuff that you mentioned when it was walking up the stairs. But I didn't like the video is just the thing blinking and then looking at you, and it looked like a normal Pokemon game. Like it looked like a Pokemon game. He started off by trying to say it was like it reminded him of like the old 90s Pokemon game as if they have an advance. Like it wasn't a sprite. So calm down with that. It was definitely better graphics than the Dreamcast and everything. So okay. But then on top of that, he compared it to Dreamcast Sonic. He compared it to Monster Hunter. And a few other things that it's like, not once did he compare it to Sword and Shield. Like, is it a graphical improvement on Sword and Shield? Is it more of the same on Sword and Shield, or is it worse than Sword and Shield? He didn't bring up Sword and Shield at all. His only reference to another Pokemon game was saying it reminded him or like Pokemon games started in 1996, and this was like one of those, even though he couldn't clarify which. And he compared it to Pokemon Go, but only because he said this was like a mobile game on console, so he compared it to the Pokemon mobile game, but then even said it's still better than that. It's not quite like Pokemon Go. But other than that, he had zero comparisons to any actual Pokemon game, and this is where I keep saying, I want a review from someone who actually plays Pokemon. Clearly, this guy didn't. No one buys Pokemon because they're looking for a Monster Hunter experience. No one's buying it for its graphical enhancements. No one's buying Pokemon to see the next level of realism and everything like that. No one buys Pokemon for that. And if that's what you're looking for, don't play Pokemon. Like, it's very easy. Just don't play Pokemon. Like, That was some part of the complaints that I saw under the IGN videos where people were like, this is why I never play these Pokemon games. They all always look the same. Yeah, because that's what the Pokemon fans want. Like I said, when they tried something different, it got bashed by Pokemon fans, even though I liked it. So they're not going to change the art style and art direction of stuff. And if you don't like it, tough. But like, this is clearly a review of someone who does not play Pokemon games, because he's just saying that, which you could argue for a $60 price point, if this isn't graphically where you want it for a $60 game, yeah, but that was the same thing they said about Gotham Knights, and I still think that game is great. And so it's just weird. Like, no one's saying like, oh, Tiny Tina was bad because it didn't look realistic, it looked like a cartoon. And that's kind of what he's saying here. It was just he was using his whole little like fluff with his comparisons and everything to insult the game. Which some of them, they were funny, but at the same time, it's like, this is clearly, again, a person who does not play Pokemon. Give me a person who plays Pokemon to review the game, and I'll be that person. If I play it and the game is bad, I will gladly bash it, but then at least you're getting the views of someone who plays all of the Pokemon games. I don't need to hear the opinion of someone new coming in. Like, this is not for you. It'll be like if right now me and you dropped a full review on Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like multiplayer mode. Like, I don't play first person shooters multiplayer mode, so I'm not, or like me dropping a full on like start to finish review of Fortnite right now. Like, I don't play those. I don't play those type of games at all. So my review doesn't mean nothing. It can be from an outside looking in. And yeah, we'll insult it and things like that for sure. And like, everybody can insult any game that they want. I've insulted several games that I don't play. But like, I don't like, his review isn't an end all be all. And to me, it's not even a comparison. And it's not even like something to just even take in. And this is why I never trust IGN reviews and everything. Like, I don't trust their reviews ever since Last of Us Part 2, and I've seen all the other stuff that they do. Is just like, no, they'll bash a game and I'm like, it's great, or they'll heavily praise a game that's clear trash. So yeah, nah, they out of here. Whatever. I don't care.
I wasn't expecting to have content for this video. I thought we was going to do a Black Friday video. We're still going to do a Black Friday Black Friday thing, but I guess we on Pokemon for right now.
Not a Dreamcast game, like, for real. It is much better graphics than any sort of Dreamcast game.
I was not
like,
expecting
don't get me wrong,
that.
Sonic looked great. I wasn't either. Like, excuse me, Dreamcast. Like, when they were showing the clips, for the people listening, when they were showing the clips, the graphics look exactly the same as Sword and Shield. Like, it's the same thing as Sword and Shield. So if you thought Sword and Shield looked like Sonic Adventure 2, then you're going to think that about this one. But clearly it's not. Like, it's just Pokemon. And then he even said, too, he was like, one of his complaints, too, he suddenly said he tried to use, like, high technology, like, technical words to say it, but he was like, the backgrounds don't look great because most of your talk is in conversation, so they tried to heavily focus on the models of the in-game, which are also generic. Yeah, Pokemon models look generic. In fact, they've actually added a little bit more in the models. So, and for the people that are about to get the game anyways, when you go to create your person, you get to create their look right away, and you don't have to wait to get the new hairstyle. But they also have an appearance thing where you get to make subtle little changes, like your eye shape and all this other stuff.
Can I make
so
Tupac?
They do have, maybe.
I'm gonna make
but
Tupac.
like,
my rival can be Biggie. Can I make Biggie as my rival?
you can try, but yeah, no, this dude is clearly like, I don't need a review from someone who doesn't play it. Like, just like you're not gonna trust your like a random person's review of like why Elden Ring is so bad and everything. With every early Twitch streamer was like, this is the worst game in the world. You can't win. The enemies one shot you. You're like, yeah, that's a Dark Souls game. Every single person that heard her like review was like, well, that's what a Dark Souls game is. That's what I felt like. It was like, well, that's what Pokemon is. Like,
I found it interesting. It was
a
very different. Like, they took the Digital Foundry review. They didn't do, because they had like
their video can't get reviewed, so they got to steal it from other content. That's cool.
it was interesting because like there was no score at all either. They didn't do the score. They didn't do the pros and cons and like give it a number at all. It was Digital Foundry's video, but it was their version. They did the frame rate thing, but
And one other clarification, he didn't just say if you're a Pokemon fan, you'll ignore this review. What he said was, if you are looking for something graphically like amazing, all this other stuff, blah blah blah, price point $60, then this is not the game for you. However, if you are a diehard Pokemon fan, you will enjoy the game and probably ignore this review. So what that tells me is Pokemon made a game for Pokemon fans. Like this, they're not trying to pull anybody in on Gen 9. Like they're not trying to make something new for Gen 9. Like this is the one that'll bring people in. If anything, Arceus was the experimental one to try and bring people in. But like for Gen 9, no, people know what they're getting into for Pokemon. That's like complaining about Emerald because it was very similar to Soul Silver. Like, come on.
I was surprised that they didn't compare it to Arceus because I thought that's what they were going to do. Because it would have made like it would have compared to Pokemon. I thought it would be the most logical thing would be to compare it directly to Legends Arceus because it was like it came out earlier in the year. But yeah, I don't even think did he even mention Legends Arceus at all? I don't think he mentioned it at all. I don't think it was mentioned.
The only Pokemon game he mentioned was Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I saw
saying it was better than Pokemon Go. Like that was it.
He
but
said
still trying to call it a mobile game.
He said this is a mobile game that you can dock. I remember him saying that. He was like, you could just dock it. But then he said, performance wise, it makes no difference whether it's handheld or docked. I think it sound like the biggest issue when it came to performance is the Switch itself is just unfortunate. For a lot of PC people, they already know what they're gonna do. So maybe because I'm actually interested to see, like, not even just for like the Steam Deck, but just to see someone do a professional-ish review on this from Steam Deck and PC, and to see like, is that the big thing that will make the difference? Because 20 FPS does look kind of bad. It was like the dips were kind of bad, but I don't think it takes away because I don't think anything was mentioned about story or anything like that. It was mainly just the performance. But because of the performance, yeah, he went to town. He was calling it the dream. I did not expect that at all. Like that just came out of nowhere, and then he showed the footage of a random Dreamcast game from the Dreamcast, I think, because I've seen Sonic Adventures 1 when emulated other places and also on like the GameCube and PS2, and I know it looked a little bit better than that. So he went straight for the Dreamcast footage of that game and said this looked like a Dreamcast game. And I was like, wow, like I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that at all.
So this was a review on graphics and like performance, right? And I feel like there still is a difference between graphics and performance of a game and graphics and performance of a Pokemon game in relation to other Pokemon games and where Pokemon should be now, right? Like, I'm not going to compare the graphics of Cult of the Lamb to God of War Ragnarok, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to compare those two. God of War Ragnarok is in a whole different league than Cult of the Lamb. So, like, if I was just to say, does Cult of the Lamb look like a $70 game? No. Look at a lot of the indie games where they're just like 2D side scrollers that like come out now, right? Or 8-bit games that come out now. I'm not gonna bash them because it's not fully 3D looking great. Digimon Survive, that just came out, right? It was like a grid system and everything was like a weird looking little kind of sprite sort of thing because that was the art direction that they went with. I'm not gonna compare that to Monster Hunter because that's not the direction that they were like going with. I might compare it to other Digimon games and say maybe like it doesn't look like those, like the sprite was like an interesting choice to have to go back to. Then I want to compare how does it work with a visualization novel and how does that work for the price range too. But to compare Pokemon solely based off of this is the price and this is what it looks like, it'll look like this for me, but you don't bring up Sword and Shield at all, like the previous one, like, come on. If he had argued that it wasn't a graphical improvement over Sword and Shield, if he had said that, that's something to merit. But he didn't mention the previous game at all, which leads me to believe he didn't play the previous one.
I think it should have been compared to Legends Arceus, and then it should have been compared to was it Black and White? Black and White was the one that just
Diamond and Pearl that just
Diamond. Like, yeah, that's what it was. The ones who just
Brilliant
got
Diamond, Shining Pearl, he should have Sword and Shield.
He should have
those three.
Yeah, it should have been compared to that as far as performance wise, because I think the biggest thing that was standing out, because the entire time they had the grid on the screen that's like the Digital Foundry format, where you could see the dips. It looked like waves, right? It looked like waves of like whenever it dipped or whatever. Like that was on screen the entire time from start to finish, which is something is they almost told on themselves that they're looking at their competition in a way, because Digital Foundry is on the rise. But
yeah.
The biggest thing though is usually when Digital Foundry does that type of video, their focus is on 60 FPS. And so it like usually when a game is doing the I guess graphics mode on PlayStation and Xbox, at the very bare minimum, you get the 30 FPS when you're going to 4K. What really stood out to me, like I knew it wasn't going to be 1080p native because it was still like the Switch itself, but it did seem a little alarming to me that while it's in docked mode, it's at 720p, but it couldn't hold 30 frames. Like that was the part that really stood out to me the most. Like I don't know if it's fair to just call it a Dreamcast game, because I wouldn't even say Age of Calamity is a Dreamcast game. I wouldn't have said that, because that's the big game that I wanted to play before not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, the second or the sequel to Breath of the Wild. That's the in-between game that was supposed to be like Hyrule Warriors, where they talk about the beginning of Breath of the Wild. That game had performance issues, and everybody did their video where it had performance issues, but nobody really gave too much update as if it was really patched. And the only way I'm going to know, obviously, is if I play it myself, and I'm fortunate enough to have access to it through my little library thing, right? So I'm gonna get that one, you know, recently, or I'm gonna get it in probably a month. But with this game, it seems like it's in the same boat, with the difference being like with Hyrule Warriors, just from me looking from the outside in, when Hyrule Warriors had the issue, there was like 1 billion people on screen, and then Link is like slashing through all of them. You know, with this game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you have a few Pokemon here and there, but it's not like an army. You know what I mean? It's just a turn-based game, and it's a little alarming for me when I see it as a turn-based game and it still can't hold the frame rate. That's the part that kind of gets me. But I do think it's somewhat unfair to like really destroy Game Freak is the name of the company that's doing it or did it. I think it's a little unfair if the main reason why is because the Switch hardware. It sounds from even not just IGN but other places like the main thing is the performance. I think the Switch is more to blame here. And
okay.
I'm okay with it only because the Switch killer is out there and you can get it and you can play this a different way. And I know people was upset with people who did it with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, But technically, if that fixes it, um, I that's how I probably would play it, is on the Steam Deck, because I plan on getting one literally right, not after the winter right away, probably like later, like right around this time next year probably, because I don't think I'll have anything else to get. I done bought all the systems. But yeah, that's when I think I might play it, if it's really just that bad. It's not really known for Nintendo overall to have this type of issue at launch, like with a lot of their games. It's like every now and then. This is probably going to be one of their now and thens, because I didn't play Kirby and the Forgotten Lands when it first came out. I played it earlier in this summer, but the game looks great and it played great. And I didn't have any issues with the graphics at all. I didn't have any issues with the performance at all. Like, it was still 30 FPS and I thought it was just fine. And it didn't look like the way the Pokemon game looked. I thought that was kind of like, I do think there's a little bit of an issue there to me, because if I was to compare it to any game, I would have to go with the head of the head, and that's Super Mario Odyssey. And it's not even so much for the contents of the game. I just think that Odyssey looks better and it performs better. And then the Switch is the only thing that's supposed to be running it, right? And it's like, how did that happen? Like, how is that one doing it, but this one can't? And it's like years later. That one came out in 2017. I don't know. Maybe while saying that, it probably does sound like it's more on the company. I don't know. But it's just like, Mario looks and runs awesome. And there were like, it looks very great. It looks good. And I think even they found a way to get that to go full 60 FPS at 1080p, if I remember correctly. And it's like, they kind of have to, because it's Mario. Like, you kind of have to. But I think according to
now, there is one small argument that you can compare the two for.
Sure.
I don't think this is 100% like, there's your argument's invalid, right? That's not what I'm saying. But what I am going to say is, I know when you do compare the two, Pokemon doesn't have like loading screens.
Okay.
As you go through from area to area, so it has to just be able to keep up with, the area that you're going in.
Mm-hmm.
And like things popping up, because Pokemon just kind of have to appear now, versus like the grass being shaky. Like, they actually have an overworld. Whereas for Mario, there is this loading screen, and they render one giant area at a time. So everything there is there. There isn't new things coming in outside of any laser beams you do. But so there is one, which maybe that's something Pokemon might need to consider for the current hardware. A very, very short loading screen for some of the areas, in comparison to like being able to 100% render like a really nice looking like route, an area. And they can easily you can make quick ones like that aren't as like obvious as like, let's say, Outriders, and you have to like take your helmet off and jump over a little bridge for it to load in the next area. So they could do something that are a little bit smoother than that. You could still make it a small little cutscene of like going from one like slight area to the next, but that could be what loads in the full area, which might help with that. But I don't know. It still should aim more towards at least an Odyssey sort of.
Odyssey might be too much, maybe, because that is still like, I don't know. They put their best guys on Odyssey for sure.
So true.
They have to.
Also true.
But Breath of the Wild was technically a Wii U game. It still didn't have. It had some pop-ins, but it like the Switch version. It didn't dip. From what I was playing, I didn't feel dips like that. But at the same time, it is still like literally like an empty-ish world. It's not a lot. Like you will come across like a couple of them cavemen every now and then, or maybe the big rock guys will come up every now and then. But it's like the background and the world told the story, but it wasn't a lot on camera,
Right. Now, we'll also say this IGN guy in his comparison things with the graphics, comparing Pokemon to Monster Hunter is like comparing Legend of Zelda and saying it's not as realistic looking as Dark Souls.
I don't know. It was,
right? It looks a little too cartoony. Like that was what this guy trash. That's trash.
That point right there, he probably should have subbed that out and put in Legends of Arceus. Like he should have put that there.
Yeah, and he didn't have to. To me, he didn't have to say. It was his last line about the whole like Pokemon fans are still probably going to enjoy this, and it's like, but his line is like saying is because they're gonna look for what a Pokemon game is. Like he could have left that. Like he had these.
He slandered Pokemon a little bit because he was also making a point that this game should have been done with the 90s. Like I think he said something like that.
Yeah,
he was just like Pokemon should have been over with. Basically, I was like, okay, all right. He talking saucy. Yeah. He talking saucy.
Yeah,
because he went there. I was like, because I know. I would like to, go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, I know it's not that fair because for me, it might seem a little odd for the few people who have been listening to every podcast. You probably would have heard me basically be a Pokemon fan and a Pokemon basher every other week, and I know it kind of sounds like that. But I'm not trying to bash it this time. I wouldn't bash it as much as this guy. I was bashing the performance for fun with people I know behind the scenes. And then at the same time, on the scenes, I think it is still a little unacceptable as far as like its current state. I'm under the impression for myself that I don't think it should come out every year. It should be every other year. And then this particular year, it's they already had a game that came out, which was Legends of Arceus, and it didn't have as many performance issues. I didn't hear as much performance issues.
Performance issues. No, it did have some pop in and some like frame rate drops. It does.
I know that's partially because of the Switch. It seems like this particular one may have got rushed out by Nintendo, or may have got rushed out because of the date and it needed to hit that same line, very similar to WWE, or very similar to like the FIFA or all the other games that have that yearly kind of release where every now and then you got to side eye one of them. Like it seems like that probably happened. Like it doesn't take away from the fact that a Pokemon fan was going to pack out, GameStop, you know what I'm saying? Like before, like they're only there to purchase it. They don't really know what's going to happen yet. You're gonna have some people defend it and stuff. It's like that's what makes it funny for me. It's just kind of funny. It's like I understand they were gonna do it, but like at the same time, I wouldn't want to be in a situation where like the company did something that's like not considered good, and now I'm defending the company. Because I know this reminds me a little bit of the PlayStation fan base that are like super hardcore, that was defending the price increase, defending the director's cuts. Because I had issues with that. Because I felt like that was a slap in the face to a fan. Like to re-release the game and it's like clearly not that much different. You know what I mean? To me, it just sounds like, even though it was so much detail in there where he was just like going in on it, he took shots at Pokemon as a brand. that's the thing that I didn't understand, but I was like, okay, he took some shots at a brand, but it overall, it just sounds like if you are a gamer, you sit down, it almost sounds like what would fix this is literally either being multi-plat or you playing it unofficially on the Steam Deck. That's what it sounds. It sounds like what's holding it back is the actual Switch hardware. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like, I don't think that a lot of these issues would have been an issue on the PS5 or Series X. And I guess
I did go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's fortunate for those who really care about it. They can still do it that way, like get it on the PC, I guess. It's unfortunate for Nintendo, but I would say for myself, from everything that I've seen, I do think that was released in an unacceptable state, it could have definitely benefit from being released like in January. When did Arceus come out? Like it could have been just released in January. They could have tried to iron some of this out, or maybe just release it after Pokemon. It should have came out like after Tears of the Kingdom. I feel like this one should have came out next year around this time, because they already came out with Arceus. That's how, I was like, they already came out with it.
I feel like Arceus should have been the one dropping now.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
Arceus should have been dropping now because Brilliant Diamond came out around this time last year, and then Arceus just randomly dropped in February. And Arceus should have dropped now.
Yeah,
and Scarlet and Violet should have dropped next year, November.
Yeah.
Oh, and I bet a lot of this would have been like resolved. One thing I have noticed, so this is something that I could say for the channel that like I think I'm gonna not tweak, like where I said I'm gonna talk about my impressions of Scarlet and Violet like soon once I actually get some time to play it. So you'll probably hear it for the next podcast after this one.
You have Scarlet, right? You have Scarlet.
I have
right?
Scarlet. Yeah.
Okay.
But I am going to edit this too. What I'm going to also make sure to talk about, because I just did a Google search from several things and cannot find it. My review is going to be compared to Legends Arceus, Brilliant Diamond, and Sword and Shield. Okay. Like where it stands against those. Because I can't find anything that's like comparing them. It's just saying that like graphically it's not this, or graphically it's this. And like I can't find anything specifically like outside of somebody putting it together from earlier trailer stuff to show how Pokemon look different. I can't find anything that just compares it. Like, to be honest, even though I'm comparing it to Arceus and Brilliant Diamond, its biggest comparison really should be Sword and Shield. The Sword and Shield is Gen 7 and this is Gen 8. Like, how does it compare to the last generation? And no one's doing that. So I will do that.
Are you going to compare it to Sonic Adventures 1?
Oh my God. Oh my God. If I can correct this IGN dude, yeah. Or if he's right. Maybe he's right. But I don't think he's right. I think he does.
I was just blown away by that, because that kind of just came out of nowhere.
He just threw it in there.
Came out of nowhere.
Sonic and then moved on.
It just
like,
came,
yo, for real?
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. But you know what? It looked like he got majority likes. I didn't see the dislikes. I got the dislike viewer. It didn't look like he got a bunch of dislikes. So
that's because the people who like it.
But you know what? Okay, it's 30. It was 30 minutes old. It was like 30 minutes old. We'll check. We will.
Well, it's because check IGN. Like the people who still look at IGN reviews actually believe IGN.
Yeah. So I guess we can move on for that. That took up a big chunk. I didn't think we were going to have extra content. I'm still wanting to get this over with quickly though. But hit the like button for the content. We got a very passionate Pokemon fan here who is not going to stand for the comparison to the Dreamcast. Shout out to the Dreamcast. I think you can emulate that on the Steam Deck as well. Anyways, this was supposed to be the episode after Thanksgiving, and everybody can sit back and eat a bunch of Thanksgiving food, and we tell you about the games that we bought pretty much all November, not just Black Friday. I think we could just say all November. So we're going to do that. That's going to be a little bit later on. We're going to throw some of these topics out there that was not going to cover last week. So maybe Pokemon probably needs an update. But speaking of updates, we got the game ARMS. ARMS had an update.
Yeah. So speaking of the Switch too, so the fighting game ARMS, the one with your arms all stretchy and springy and everything, it got an update, and it's its first one since 2018. Like, I don't even know what it's about. I have the game ARMS. I haven't played it in forever. Apparently, it's like balance adjustments. But in my head, I was like, to be honest, who's still playing it? Like, that's cool that they're doing it. And shout out to the ARMS, like, people who still play. It does make me, like, want to play it for a little bit, like probably for like an hour or so, but it's like, I forgot about ARMS. Let me jump back in. Like, yeah.
Don't hit the TV.
I did almost throw the Switch remote one time playing it, I'm going to be honest.
But what? The Joy-Cons don't got the same type of weight as the
Nah.
nunchuck and the Wii remote. That Wii remote was really breaking TVs. It
Yeah, the
was
Wii remote
breaking
would
some
break a TV.
TVs. And that was
You throw
during
the
a time when
Joy-Con.
those flat screens was brand new and everybody was just
Uh-huh.
coming off of the tube TV, so they spent some real money on them, and it was breaking them left and right. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, you throw a Joy-Con and like it'll break. The Joy-Con will break, or
yeah,
maybe it'll fix the drift. Uh, but another game that got an update for some reason is Marvel's Avengers. So they're getting a Winter Soldier DLC. Apparently, this was announced in like July or August. I completely missed that. But they said it doesn't look like he's going to have a big story thing. So it's going to be like the Spider-Man one, where they just kind of like drop him and he has like a little like not really a mission with story in it, but just like some missions that are a little bit more tailored towards them. But then it's just another character. So they're doing that with Winter Soldier. I don't know, man. You gonna jump into Avengers because of Winter Soldier?
I am gonna play the solo because I still haven't done it yet.
Sorry.
But
I
I
played the story. It
don't.
was fine.
I'm surprised that they because it before when they did the Spider-Man update, I thought they were trying to get like be done with this because it sounded like they was losing money. They weren't getting what they thought they was going to get. They thought they was going to get MCU money with this game,
Yep.
and then they didn't. And I thought they was trying to be done with it because I remember there was a leak where it was like a whole bunch of people. It was a whole bunch of people that was pretty much the whole cast of people that fought Thanos in the MCU was DLC in this game on paper in that initial leak, and then Spider-Man was like the only one that was on PlayStation only.
Yep.
Because they went with the Wakanda expansion thing and did the Black Panther thing, and then they had the Hawk guy at one point. I mean, me personally, I just wanted to play the solo and just be done with it and just go straight to the Guardians of the Galaxy because I didn't play neither one
I
yet.
want to check out the. I want to check out the like little DLC story things just
Yeah.
because I have them. They were all put in the game, and I have the game.
The
It's just
Wakanda
bringing
one is
myself
free,
to
right?
install it again.
Isn't that
Yeah.
one free? But one of them is free and one of
Yeah.
them is not. I forgot. I think
The
Wakanda
Hawkeye
one.
one, I think you pay.
Okay.
But so for this DLC, it drops November 29th, which would be if you're listening to this podcast on the day of, it's like 2 days later. So
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
The games, games like that one should continue to be updated because they kind of owe it to the people a little bit because
Yeah.
they clearly was looking to get all your money. It's like, no,
Yo.
earn it. Just earn it. Like that's all you got to do is earn it. Put out better content and earn it. But yeah, so that game has an update as well. So there are updates here and there. I think, are we close to the halfway point? We're not close to the halfway point yet. Well, I'm gonna do this now anyway because it's technically close to the halfway point. Because we're gonna go a little bit earlier. It's still the holiday for the people, but yeah, Epic Games. I just want to talk about my unofficial sponsor, Epic Games. They have their free games that always comes out, I guess, for November 24th to December 1st. The only game as of right now of this recording that they have mentioned as going to be free is Star Wars Squadrons. I believe they may show some more stuff past that afterwards, but it seems like they might be gearing up for a big Christmas release, I think. Because I don't remember them ever, like whenever they only give away one game, it's usually when they do like something that's bigger. Because before they'll throw you like 3 or 4 little ugly games. It's like no offense to the creators, but it'll be like little side scrollers here and there, little point and click stuff. But now it look like they only want to put out one game at a time. So the first one is Star Wars Squadron. So I'll be looking out for whatever they have going forward. But the other thing, I guess maybe we can go into this. The next topic being, what did you get on Black Friday? Which is still a part of the deals. I think at this point, when you in the recording, the deals are probably over, but you might still be able to catch a couple things. I know GameStop usually does this end of the year sale that is like a very good deal, but it's probably going to be like right before Christmas. And what they do is they'll have like where everything that's used is like 50% off or something, or it's like a certain percentage off, but the more you keep buying into it, the price of the games just drops so low. It's something like that. I did that one year, and I was getting games for like $8 each, and it was stuff like the Spider-Man Miles Morales was a big one. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was another one that was big. Little Nightmares was another one, and these games were like all $6 or $7 each. Dragon Ball Z not Budokai. I wish it was Budokai. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. That
Budokai
one
is a good game.
Yeah, that was like also like under like almost every game was under $10. So I would say look out for that if you've missed any other deal. At least you can do that. Most of them are going to always be used though. But I'm telling you, every game will be like $10. It's like you will close the gap of like all the little dumb stuff. Like you mentioned when I got the Wolf game, it was like that was the reason why they were all like $8 each. I was like, I'll get the Wolf game. Let me laugh at it real quick because nobody posted the ending, and I was like, I want to see the ending. I want to see it just for some laughs. But yeah, so this year, the games that I got, very big long list. I don't know if you want to go first. If your list isn't that long, we might have some duplicates. But just for the month of November.
My list isn't long, but I also wanted to talk about why my list is not long.
Okay.
All right. So, in terms of specifically Black Friday sales, I picked up Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a game that it seemed interesting to me, and I wanted to get it. And then back and forth, right? And I'm thinking I'm gonna pick up a Digimon Survive. But yeah, I got Ghostwire Tokyo, but that was it for Black Friday. I bought the one game, right? And here's why. A couple years ago, I went kind of a little crazy, and on Black Friday, I went and bought like 8 different games.
Yeah.
Right? Or I had a total of 10. I bought 10 games like in total for Black Friday. Then for the next 6 straight months, one game was given away on PlayStation Plus from my Black Friday list each month. So it started with Maneater. Like randomly that like was a big surprise in December. Like I didn't expect Maneater to be
I was mad about that
was,
just because of the save data. I wasn't worried about the game. It was just the save data.
Well, for me, I knew I didn't get to it in time, and I bought it, and then it was December, one of the games, January, February, March, like throughout the months up until like June. One game on my game of 10, like 7 of them consecutively was given away for free, and out of that list, only one of them, Remnant from the Ashes, I was able to get to before it was a PlayStation Plus release game. So because of that, I was like, unless I know I'm about to really just kind of get to that game soon, which I have a feeling for Ghost of Tsushima, I feel like that's going to be something like pretty much like my side game next to God of War, just to like if I need to take a quick break and I want to do something shorter. But
I don't
really,
know if
it's
Ghost
like I've
is
been
a
trying to
shorter
get
one.
myself.
That was a bigger game, I think, ain't it?
Or not Ghost of Tsushima. Sorry, Ghostwire Tokyo. Ghostwire Tokyo. That one's shorter. Yeah, and it's a little more organized between like level versus like open world. It's like it's relatively like linear. So it's like it's a place where it's like easy starting and stopping points.
Yeah.
So that would be my like I just want to pop something for like an hour. So that's why I feel like I might get to that one a little bit sooner. But a lot of other stuff, I feel like now if I can't get to it, if I don't think I'm going to get to it right away and it's on sale for $30, which is a great price, but I really just don't think I'm going to get to it, then I'm going to wait till it's like 20 or less, because there's certain games that I'm looking at and I'm like, yo, these look great. I don't even anticipate getting into it until like closer to Black Friday next year. So I'm like, well, I might as well wait till next year now. That's just me now, just because of that. If it wasn't for that, where it was each month consecutively, one of them was given away, And it was just my choices. Now, it didn't happen for everything. Like yours didn't do that. It was just the particular games I chose to buy. Those are the ones that were all given away. And it was just like, well, dang, I don't want to do that no more.
I think I had that issue a little bit that year, but I didn't have that issue last year though. When I did the GameStop end of the year thing where everything was like $7 or $8, like I didn't really nothing really came up. Like they didn't do the Dragon Ball Z. They didn't do Last of Us 2. I think was one of them. I decided to get Last of Us 2.
You picked out deals for better ones. I was just picking out the games. I was like, yo, I was interested in this. I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't want to play full price. So it's just like now it's on like super sale. And again, I didn't lose that much. Like each one was like at most $15.
But you know what?
As I was going to get it, and then it was just like boom, boom, boom. But the trade-off is I own it, right? As opposed to like if I got it on PlayStation Plus, I no longer like if I stopped using that, I can't play it anymore. Like I own it and everything, which is a benefit, and it looks good for my collection. But still, it was like games that I was even like kind of shaky on, and it was like I'm gonna get it because it's on sale, and then boom, here you go, it's for free.
I do think a big portion of my games that I had was in Game Pass last year, though. And I also have to say, for this year, I think a lot of those games that I bought is still going to be on there, but it's not going to be on Plus Plus. It's going to be on Extra. I think it's going to be on Extra. Because I think a lot of those games, too, is already on Extra right now. Like the Spider-Man games went to Extra, didn't it? And
Marvel. Or Guardians of the Galaxy.
The Guardians of the Galaxy was on both that and Game Pass. And then I think Marvel Avengers is on Game Pass. And then let's see. I know Little Nightmares was on there from last year. But for what I've bought so far.
Let's hear about yours.
Yeah, like so one of the games that I do think is going to be on Extra, not PS Plus Essential, is Sifu. And I bought Sifu. Sifu was $25, and it was the Vengeance edition, which is like a almost like a collector's edition because it came with a steel book and a slip cover and an art book, and then it had like little art pieces that were like cardboard kind of things, similar to like if y'all had Cyberpunk had like some of those same things in it. It had like a lot of cool stuff, so it was like probably my favorite overall because of the stuff that it came with, and it looks very nice. The steelbook looks very nice. So that was $25. I think there was the buy two get one free. That was a part of it, so I technically spent less because I think the other part was the Souls game that came out that was called Thymesia. I think we talked about here and there. That was another game that I think right afterwards, like it was $30, but I had the buy two get one free, and then I still had this Amazon gift card. It should be for Black Friday also $20 if you bought it by itself, because it went down afterwards. But I was satisfied with it because it was like a Souls game, and I'm like really into those right now. So I had that. The Pac-Man Repack, I think is what it's called. Like, I don't know if people remember when that was revealed. I think it might have been revealed at the Nintendo show earlier on.
I forgot about that.
It's 2 or 3 games in one of like old Pac-Man games that were remastered all on one disc. I got the PS4 version. The PS4 version has a free PS5 upgrade. Why it would need to be an upgrade is kind of hilarious. I'm like, shouldn't the PS4 version run just as good because it's still an old game? I don't know. But I got that. That was a part of that deal. The buy two, get one free. The main thing in that deal was the Sifu. And then that's when I went a little haywire with Black Friday stuff afterwards. Because all these deals just started to hit, and I just started scooping and scooping and scooping. I got Horizon Forbidden West because I didn't get it earlier on. Because like what we were saying earlier on with Pokemon, I felt like Horizon did not have the performance at launch that I would consider a good standard. and I thought it was unacceptable at launch. But I'm pretty sure it's been, heavily patched since then. It wasn't in that rough a state, but I have the PS4 version that's coming in the mail. It actually should be in the mail by the time this recording goes out. That one, as soon as I get it in the mail, I'm going to upgrade it to the PS5 version. The upgrade for that particular game is free. So if you did get this, you should have got the PS4 version over the PS5 version, because the reverse cover is exactly the same on the inside, and you would have saved $10. But that was $30. I got that for $30. I thought $30 was a reasonable price for Horizon, being one of the biggest PS5 exclusives outside of like God of War. God of War, technically not a Black Friday deal, but I did buy God of War full price. The only game that I probably might ever buy full price is God of War Ragnarok, to be specific. And I am currently playing it. The game is awesome. I appreciate it more than the other one, even though it's still very similar. This one comes off way more important. Like, no disrespect to Kratos' wife, but I didn't feel like, dumping her ashes on the top of some hill was as important as Thor and Odin. So, yeah. So,
I should clarify that real quick that I did also purchase God of War Ragnarok and Pokemon. But the game that I got on sale was Ghostwire.
Shout out to Ghostwire. They played my co-host on Ghostwire. They did not give him the deluxe version. But somehow I got the deluxe version. Well, technically, I wasn't supposed to get the deluxe version, but somebody packed it wrong. And so I got the full deluxe version, which came with some goodies.
To do with whichever GameStop is closest to you.
Yeah. So they did it. They gave me so I had Ghostwire Tokyo as well. I decided to get it. I wasn't really going to at first, but honestly, I thought it still looked good, and I thought the cover looked good, and I'm still big on the physical collecting. It was $25. I was like, you know what? I bought Deathloop for $25 the year before, even though I didn't really want to play it that much either, because I don't really care too much for the first person aspects. I'm just really big on the third person, but I still play first person stuff. It's like a lot of first person stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get them since they cheap. So I did get Ghosts, and I got Returnal. Returnal, another PlayStation exclusive. That was like one of the only other ones that was a PlayStation exclusive that I got that was like kind of on the list to get. That was like $70 all year round, just like everything else. It went down to $50 during like the regular year for a moment, but it finally went down to $30, and I was like, you know what, I think $30 is still reasonable for a PlayStation exclusive for PS5, so I grabbed that as well. Ratchet and Clank or Rift Apart is available, or was available during Black Friday for $30. I chose not to get that. So, but for anybody else, that was the other PlayStation exclusive that is out there for $30 right now. And I think I do think it's worth it for $30, but I had already platinumed it as a rental, and I don't really want to own it yet. Maybe I'll get it as ownership when it drops down like way, way more. But, let's see. I mentioned Thymesia. I did grab, I think I may have mentioned this one last week or the week before. But I guess because it's still a November purchase, I did get Hitman 3. It wasn't really a Black Friday-ish sale. It kind of went on sale early. I think I did mention this before, but I had Hitman 3 was like $12. So I just grabbed it. It was $12. I have the first two, and I didn't play the third one, so I was like, okay. I got Hitman 3 on Series X for $12. I believe there was like one other game. It's a game that was like poorly reviewed. I think it's called Dolmen. Okay. It was like a Souls-like game where you're in this Iron Man suit, and it was like poorly reviewed. It looked bad. I still thought it was a bad looking game. This was like my wolf game for this year because it was brand new for $10. And so I just said, fine, put it in the list. So I do have that game. If it's like the worst game ever, I'm not going to worry about it because I literally spend more at grocery stores than that for $10. So yeah, I got that as well. I got my phone right here. I don't know why I'm trying to think about it. I could just pull up the full list of stuff. I could pull up the full list of orders. So yeah, I was going around. I think even though this is going to come out afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not going to get the or I didn't get the PlayStation headset that was like marked down to like 70. I was looking at it and I was kind of contemplating it, but the thing about it is I believe is wired up a certain way where you can only use it on the PS5 and you can't use it nowhere else wirelessly. So I was like, well, that's no point. So I didn't touch that.
Yeah, that's fair.
As of this recording, oh yeah, I see. Lost Judgment. I bought Judgment and Lost Judgment. So Judgment I bought for $15 on the PlayStation Store directly. Lost Judgment I bought it the physical way. That's set to come out, or that's set to hit my mailbox soon. That has a free PS5 upgrade. I bought it on PlayStation, the PS4 version. It has a free upgrade. So I said Returnal, Pac-Man, Thymesia. I think I mentioned this last time, but it was still a November thing. So Kenna Bridge of Spirits, I bought early November, November 10th, according to this. And that might be it. I don't know if I'm missing something. I said Horizon, I said Returnal, right? Yeah, I think that might be it. So it might not be too much. Maybe it might be. That's still a nice solid list, and it's still a nice amount of money. I think the God of War purchase was what really drove the amount of money up, though. But I'm not complaining about it. It's still good. I'm gonna play that a second time on New Game Plus, and I'm gonna play the first one 2018 on New Game Plus as well. That's all it is, I think, for game purchases. And yeah, like I said, I'm probably going to pass on. I'm going to pass on the headset. Now, I just remembered because technically this is a pre-record for Thanksgiving. I am going to buy Digimon Survive for $17. That's supposed to be $17 this upcoming Monday. I am going to buy that, and then it's almost going to come down to a coin flip because I'm on the fence for Sonic Frontiers, but that's also supposed to be $30. It's brand new at $30. You're gonna get it. So I'm on the coin flip for that because I think only the Switch version is $30, and the other two is like $35. And I ain't trying to play on the Switch. See the beginning of this podcast for reasons why I'm not trying to play that on the Switch. Shots fired. Yeah. And I think that's it, man. That's all I'm going to get. It's still a big list. I don't know if I'm going to participate in the end of the year sale for GameStop because I don't even know what else to get. Like I kind of broke the bank a little bit. But
you'll find something.
I had gift cards and stuff. I don't know if I said this on air, but off air, I had mysterious gift cards sent to me. And so, yeah, I'm utilizing that. Or I utilized that already. So, yeah, I had a nice big list. I guess if you want to count this thing, I don't know if it counts, but last month was the month that I went ahead and grabbed a whole bunch of retro systems. And I call myself closing the gap. So I still spent a lot of money on gaming in the past couple months when I think about it. So I'm going to cool my jets. This is going to go right into my next topic, which was what are you going to play? I'm gonna cool my jets on the purchases after the holiday season, and I'm going to basically not add on any new games into rotation until Tears of the Kingdom comes out. So that is May, I believe, is when that comes out, because I do want to buy that around that time. The only other game I'm going to add to rotation is I'm going to go rent Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And even if it's like really bad, I'm going to try to power through it as much as I can. If I can't really power through it, then I might just go watch cutscenes online right before Tears of the Kingdom. And then I'm just going to power through my backlog. And I actually have a list of my backlog, and I will actually mention it because I wrote it down a long time ago. I wrote it down so long ago that some of the names are fading off of this sheet. So I have to finish the game called Celeste. So I'm going to finish that. I want to make sure I completed the GTA 5 online stuff. Just get it out of my system. I'm going to restart Maneater. I'm going to actually restart that and just play the PS5 version because it's been more than a year since I stopped playing and I was still in the beginning. So I'm just going to restart it on the higher list.
All right.
Digimon Cyber Sleuth, I got to finish that. Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship is on here. I got to finish that. I got to finish the campaign on Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. And I actually want to buy the rest of the DLC for that. I think they're done. And then Hollow Knights. I don't know how to say that. Something Heart Edition. Void Heart Edition. What am I saying? Void Heart Edition. Hollow Knights Void Heart Edition. I got to finish that. I got to finish Alan Wake. I have to finish Persona 5 Royal. I have to finish The Witcher 2. A Plague's Tale Innocence. I technically started Monster Hunter World. Banjo-Tooie. Throwback. Sequel to Banjo-Kazooie. On my list, a Star Wars The Force Unleashed. I'm actually going to play emulated version of that. I'm not going to buy that Switch version.
That's Star Wars The Force Unleashed is my favorite Star Wars game.
I guess Borderlands 2 is finished. I can go ahead and chop that off. Bug Snacks was on this list. I'm taking that off. I'm not going to go back to Bug Snacks. I think I mentioned that before. Crash 4, it's about time. I still got to finish that. I'm still towards the end of Pokemon Soul Silver. I don't count Kirby Forgotten Lands as finished. I still want to play the Souls aspect of it completely through. And then I have Mortal Shell on here, God of War Ragnarok on here, and Eldest Souls. So I don't need to start anything else. I want to finish what I've had as a backlog for this past year. And so I'm going to do that and lighten it up. I'm not going to lighten up completely, but I'm going to lighten that up all the way until Tears of the Kingdom come out. And I'm going to play that and then just continue to lighten it up, add a few new games here and there, and that's what I'm looking at for the first half of 2023, from now to 2023, May. How about you? I don't know if you have it that detailed, but yeah.
Relatively in my head. So, I'm in the last part of Persona 5 Royal. 140 hours in officially. So, I gotta finish that.
That's cool.
I finished Gotham Knights.
Oh, you finished that already?
No, I'm going to.
Oh, you're going?
I gotta finish Gotham. Yeah.
My bad.
So, Persona 5 Royal, Gotham Knights, Pokemon Scarlet, given I can. Like I said, we gotta see.
So we got two reviews coming from you. We got a Gotham Knights review and a Pokemon review. So we go here.
Yep. So I got those three. Okay. God of War, Ghostwire Tokyo. I want to go ahead and at least start by the middle of next year. Cyberpunk 2077 and Ghost of Tsushima. Like I want to at least start those. But only one at a time. I don't think I want to start both. But one at a time.
Real quick, I want to just mention for Cyberpunk, I think I want to start that too, probably after Tears of the Kingdom. It's had so many patches, and I think it's at a point now where it should be enjoyable without running into
Yeah.
anything crazy. I think it's more.
And when I picked it up, it
acceptable
cost me
spot.
like $10, so I feel okay with that.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's at a spot now that I can play that. So those are the main ones I want to play there.
It'll probably be patched again
Then
too.
yeah. Oh, and Ratchet and Clank Rifts Apart. I want to get through as well because I haven't started that, and I like the Ratchet and Clank.
That one
series,
needs a
even
patch
though,
by the but yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. The things that will interrupt this playthrough for the PlayStation side would be Hogwarts Legacy. That's going to be thrown in there as well because that comes out the beginning of next year.
Okay.
So we got that. Then from the Nintendo side of things, I want to. Well, at first I should mention from PC, like dive more into Hue. I gotta finish Guacamelee, the Super Turbo Championship Edition. I'm on the last level, so I gotta finish that finally. And I want to dive deeper into The Witcher 3. Because I like started it. I want to get really into that, but with all the stuff I want to play on PlayStation, I don't think I have the time for The Witcher 3 just yet.
I think I
So
should
moreover,
mention.
I'm kind of feeling like, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think I should mention because I said The Witcher 2. Some of those games that was in my list, I know they have sequels. I do plan to just keep going with their sequels too. And the only other game that just came to mind that I didn't mention, I'm going to also pick up where I left off with the Resident Evil series. I don't think Resident Evil 4's remake is going to just jumpstart in. I'll probably buy it. Maybe not immediately, but like probably like within that window. But I do want to go through the series, the Resident Evil series that's already out first, because I have some of the newer games, really, which is really 7 and 8, and 8 in third person, and then what was the other one? 3, Resident Evil 3,
Okay.
the remake.
All right.
Yeah.
So some of the PC stuff, what I'm mainly kind of saving it for is when I can get like a better graphics card and a full like, PC setup and all that other stuff. Then I'll dive heavy into like my PC gaming instead of like my console stuff. Now, for the Switch, after I finish Guacamelee, I have Guacamelee 2 on there that I want to play. Along with, like I said, Pokemon Scarlet. And I've started, and I want to get more into Hades.
Okay.
That game seems like real fun. And the other thing that will interrupt the Switch, which I think I'll get it on the Switch, maybe I won't. But the thing that'll interrupt that is Persona 4 Golden, when that comes out next year.
Isn't that out, or was it released?
Nah,
They weren't released yet?
not yet. The re-release
'Cause
for
I know they
Persona 5 Oil got a re-release, and then Golden's coming out next year, then 3's coming out after
I
that.
thought all of it was done at the same time, because I know they was like they announced it for Game Pass, and then they announced it being like fully multiplayer, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's just not out yet. So I'm either gonna get it on PlayStation or Switch, but I'll be grabbing that. I think that's the main part of it, other than like any co-op games like we play or I play with my bro. Yeah, those are the main ones. And if I do end up picking Digimon Survive, I'll probably throw that in the middle somewhere. That might be like one of my side games because that feels like that has easy pauses and stuff like that. But that's my main stuff for the year. I'm just trying to get through stuff. That's another reason why I'm kind of done buying games and why I wasn't getting the backlog is because, I still have so many like hefty games that like ones where it's like you could put your whole life into, and then like I want to like New Game Plus some of these and everything. Like I had full intention of New Game Plus and God of War. I started a New Game Plus for Spider-Man, and I was supposed to finish that at time of Miles Morales, but I do want to also finish that and New Game Plus Miles Morales before Spider-Man 2 comes out. And it's like I want a New Game Plus stuff. There's so many other things I want to play. I have a very extensive backlog of PC that keeps growing because of Epic. And like I it's like I don't need to be buying new stuff because I still can't get through all of this. I want to eventually get to Code Vein. Like it looks good. I just don't have time to.
Shout out to Code Vein. For people, I think I probably should have mentioned that because I have already bought it and played it and everything, but I believe that had an interesting Black Friday price too, because it was like $8, and it was like everywhere eight
Worth it.
bucks. It was like 7 or 8. It was $7 and some change, but I kind of just counted it as $8. But it was brand new, and you can get it on any of the platforms, and any of the retail places was that price. But normal retail is like 15 or 20. That I think is worth it at that price too. But yeah, like $8. I should have said it last week, but okay. Oh well. Yeah, Cobain. I think also
I have Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and like it's not even on my like list because it's like I don't know when I'm gonna get to that, but I really want to because my favorite Dragon Ball Z arc was added to the game, and that's the history of Trunks. That whole part, that's like it was DLC in there, and it's like that almost made me stop everything to just jump into that. But it's like, I'm not ready for it, and like I need to find that time. And then of course there's Maneater, and then there's the Lego Harry Potter, and eventually I want to get Lego Star Wars. And
I still might look that up. I might look that up, Lego Star Wars, and see. That might be a purchase. But
just so many games. I want to go back and play Pokemon Emerald again. Like that's my favorite Pokemon game, and I want to go back and play that.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I think, was packed with a lot of content, and that's
Assassin's Creed 3 is something I want to go play before playing the other ones.
There's a lot of Assassin's Creed games that I haven't played, but yeah, that Valhalla in particular, I believe people were saying it was too long, and then they just released like this expansion as well. It was like the base game was like hundreds of hours, and I think they said they were trying to make their version of The Witcher 3 is what I heard. The whole point of that was. But,
so that was another thing. So I first because I've seen the Assassin's Creed games and I thought they looked cool. The one that really did draw my attention was Assassin's Creed 3. So I had started that one, but I never got around to finishing it because other stuff came out when it first was out on like PS3. Then they kept going, and like I think eventually like, Black Flag was like given away for PlayStation Plus. Maybe it was the DLC part of it. But then I ended up buying Origins because I was able to get it for $5. Then Odyssey had come out, and that looked interesting to me. And then Valhalla, I really wanted to get through it, do all the work to get Thor's hammer, and then like play the expansion stuff that they added to it. And then of course there's more Assassin's Creed stuff coming out. It's like, you know what? I still didn't get through 3. Like, so I own 2 of them outside of whatever is on PlayStation Plus, and it's like I won't grab more until I can get through those. But I don't know when I want to get to them.
I think I would get through my games a little bit quicker than before because I would just have it set up where I just play this one game, and then when I'm done with that one, then go to the next one. What made it bad for me was just I kept starting and then rotating, and I was only rotating because it seemed so cool to do that because I have like my system set up where I can easily get through pretty much all of them, like in a way. But it was like that kind of made it to where like now there's no actual focus, there's no actual like skill building with certain games where you're understanding patterns and stuff. And so it was just adding on and not actually finishing. But whenever I did a game that I rented from the library, I would stop everything and I was able to finish those games quick, like very, very, very quick. Especially Ratchet and Clank was one I could think of because I think I had the platinum for it in 4 days, right? And then when I did Kirby, the base part of the game was done in that same amount of time. It was like 4 or 5 days. And I came to the conclusion in the after game that I wanted to keep going with the Souls part. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to return this. I returned it and went immediately to the store and just bought mine. And then just came home with it. It was kind of interesting too, because it's like I have it in my hand, I'm returning it, and then as I'm coming home, I have it in my hand again, but this is mine now. So it was kind of cool. But whenever I did that, I was able to just like really get through the games quickly. Like some of my games are short. Like Guacamelee is technically short. Alan Wake is technically short. You know what I'm saying? Like Mortal Shell I think was 6 hours. So I'll be able to get through them. It's only like some of the games that are like really, really bigger, like Witcher 2, Witcher 3. But yeah, once you start powering through them, because when I sat down and I did that with I think it was Breath of the Wild, I was getting through it pretty quickly. When I had it in rotation with everything else, that's when it was like taking hundreds of hours to do stuff. Even though, granted, you just be in there walking around and gliding around everywhere. But yeah, I think I'll get through my my actual backlog pretty quickly, I think.
I wish.
Same thing happened
really
with
quick.
real quick. I just want to say same thing happened when I played SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. Like I got through that real quick when I just sat there with it. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It was in the gameplay footage that you see playing right now. It's Nightwing footage from Gotham Knights. It already passed, but a little bit right before this section, then one of my favorite things that caught me completely off guard. There was a guy by a ledge, and where he's on the 12th floor, and I grab him and just kick him over, so he like falls down 12 flights, hits the ground, and I scan because I was like, wait a minute, like you expect that from like Red Hood, but not Nightwing, so I thought he would do something different, and he just knocked him out, and I scanned, and it was like unconscious, and I was like, okay, he's not dead. He fell down 12 flights of stairs.
I fell
his body
12
hit
flights.
the ground, and he found. He's unconscious.
All right. Well, we still might get through this quick, so hit the like button. Tell me about James Wan real quick. What's happening?
Yeah, this is exciting. So James Wan, who you may know as a director, and producer, and he's done the 2013 Conjuring, 2010 Insidious, Saw in 2004, right? Saw movies, and he did Aquaman. You know, because that one was crazy. But
I saw a lot of those Insidious and Conjuring movies.
Yeah. Conjuring 2, like that was him. And then you got Blumhouse Productions, right? And they're known for the Paranormal Activity, The Purge, Get Out. Behind Jordan Peele is Jordan Peele and Blumhouse. Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You, which is really funny. Like they sometimes lead a little bit with the funny stuff, but also really just do horror movies. And their most recent was like The Black Phone. Is what they do. And the James Wan and Blumhouse are teaming up. They're considering like joining together for the future. So I guess it'll be James Wan as director, Blumhouse as producer, to start releasing some stuff, and I am excited for it.
So this is all movie wise, right? It's not just not a game, but that's still cool because because it sounds also like they're gonna probably go for a full series of stuff because The Conjuring was like a MCU-ish thing. They were doing all types of stuff because it branched over to the little ugly doll. What was it? Annabelle doll.
Annabelle. Yep.
Yeah, and then the Nun. And so
somebody put some money together. They said James Wan and Blumhouse has a combined box office total of $11.6 billion.
That's what's up. I know I contribute to that a little bit because I was in the theater.
And they're gonna merge companies, which would be some really good, some really funny, some really scary, some really gruesome horror movies. And then he also has Aquaman behind his belt, so maybe some more like horror superhero stuff like Brightburn. Who knows? So
I'm still waiting for whatever else is supposed to come from that.
I would like those two to do for DC Comics a Deadman movie. That would be so good. So Deadman was like a trapeze artist who died, and then now he's a ghost, and he can like solve mysteries and murders and stuff, but also has to deal with other ghosts and everything. So you can really do like a ghostly superhero like horror movie. I think that will say fantastic.
I don't want to see a full MCU-ish thing. I would like to see just a trilogy and then that's it and they move on to something else. I don't think they need to do 8-9 films.
No, they're talking about merging companies, like straight up just everything they release now is with those two for doing a bunch of horror stuff. I don't think it's going to be like making a universe. It does look like it'll be its own like horror like series each, but it's just some of the greater horror minds coming together to do stuff. So
yeah, I would like to see some more original ideas. Not too much jump scares where you just bang really hard on the piano or something. Like just suspense is better. Like with Hereditary.
Yeah.
Hereditary suspense is better. Yeah. But I guess we could move on because there's some suspense happening on Twitter. We can probably end with that real quick. I don't know if we got to spend too much time with it. All I got to say is I talked to somebody about this. I think conspiratorial wise that Elon Musk is literally trying to destroy Twitter because he was forced into buying it. That's what I think. Because it seemed like everything was fine, and then he's just starting to ruin stuff. I think that the collateral damage being the workers, I don't think is fair to them. Because they were just doing their jobs and stuff. But I do think that lunch thing was ridiculous because if I read that correctly, $400 a day on lunch, what are you eating? If that's correct.
Caviar and that $100 golden burger.
Like a day? And I mean, it was crazy. They were saying it was costing like $13 million or something in order to do this. I'm like, a day though? Like most meals, even if you on the luxury side, it's like, what are you talking about? $30 to $40 maybe? Like, how you get a $400 meal? What do y'all got?
Simply orange juices are expensive, bro.
They probably had Gordon Ramsay in there. He was the chef in the cafeteria. That's what it was. I was like, 400, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so for those that are, Elon bought it and now a bunch of people are leaving. I don't like that he was like, this must be what you do for Twitter or you're up out of here. But apparently a bunch of people like quit and they had to close down some of the like Twitter offices for like running stuff. So a lot of people think Twitter's going to end up just getting shut down because there's going to be no one behind the scenes working to make sure it runs. So that's why everybody thinks it's going to just get shut down.
Because at the same time, he was still doing little snarky stuff, like saying things like, let this sink in, Twitter usage is at an all-time high or something like that. Like he was still saying stuff and doing stuff. And then he's like, you could keep complaining all you want. That's going to be $8 or something like that. He'll say stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't even know how that's going to work. But
so, yeah, the whole checkmark thing is crazy. They're like, you could just pay to be verified. It's funny to me because it's just everybody was really harping on like needed that blue check. And it's like, well, now you can get it, but I'm going to make fun of you because like I know you're wasting $8 a month just to have a checkmark next to your name. Like, that's it when nobody cares. Like,
to bring it back to gaming, though, somebody did the Nintendo check mark and then they had Mario throwing up the middle finger and people was blurring it. Like, you go blur Mario throwing up the middle finger. And, like, other companies was saying stuff. It was just kind of crazy. It was some chaos on there. But, yeah, I think because his money is coming from the space stuff and the Tesla car especially. So it's like, this is like, even at that level, a little bit of a throwaway. It's almost equivalent to an actual person taking $1,000 PC and then smashing it with a hammer. Like you get a little bit of a loss, but you'll live. And I think that's how he is right now. It's like, it's going to be a little bit of a loss, but he's going to be good regardless. Unfortunately, the workers ain't going to be that good. But, everybody will always be able to find a job if they want to. It's just kind of crazy. I still don't understand the lunch thing because I'm just like, that's no way. Like if it was $400 per person for the whole year, I understand that. But if I remember correctly, it said the day. I'm like, okay, that don't make sense. Like how? Yeah. How? I'm hoping I read that wrong. If it's about for the year, they pay $400 per person, then yeah, that makes sense. That's actually pretty cool. It actually sounds like it's not that much when you really think about it. It sounds like it's not that much at all. But per day, man, what are you eating? What's going on? So
he good. That's what he eating.
it don't even seem like it's that big of a deal. Like, is it really worth it? Like, I have a Twitter that I made for the YouTube persona, I guess, but I don't even use it really. I may have tweeted like 5 times because I'm kind of past the social media stuff. Like, I know you're supposed to be active everywhere, but I don't really know. And then I've seen people saying stuff like, "What should my last tweet be?" and stuff. Like, it's kind of silly. It's like, I don't even know if you can actually officially do a last tweet. You're just gonna log in one day and it ain't gonna be working. But what's strange too, though, like MySpace, if I take it back, like MySpace never actually shut down. Like, it's still kind of there. It's just
we can all just go back. We can all just go back.
You technically could go there, or I don't even know, but I go there. Is Black Planet still a thing? Like, can you technically go to Black Planet? Like, technically you could. But those are like the dinosaur ones now. But I do want to say real quick, because it seems like that one is all because of Elon, but with Facebook, it's just dying just because. Like, it ain't got nothing to do with somebody coming in doing a bunch of crazy stuff. Like, Mark Zuckerberg been doing the same thing he been doing, and that one is just losing money. Like, it's just like just wasting money. And I think they said they were set to do a massive firing like next year. I think like they're gonna, because they can't even like keep everybody no more. Like, it's crazy. So like, I don't think it's shutting down like or having ups and downs as quickly as Twitter is, just because Twitter, it really does look like Elon is just sabotaging. Like, it looked like he is sabotaging, like he don't care. And it's crazy because I don't know if he would get sued by investors for making such drastic decisions, because usually when companies do changes, it's like long-winded changes. Like, something like this happens over a long period of time, you know? But with him, he made drastic changes, like, quickly. Like, you just wake up and you hear like a very another thing.
He wanted this thing destroyed. Let's be real.
That's what I think. I think he really just wanted to just mess it up because he wanted to, what was the price? Like, do you remember what the price was initially? Because all I know is he was like, he's interested in buying it. And then it came off like a joke kind of thing. Like, almost everything social media wise with him is a meme. But he said he wanted to buy it. Then they said it was in a meeting. And then all of a sudden he's like, okay, he's supposed to be buying it, but just like kind of stalled for whatever reason.
44 billion.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he was backing out of it. And then all of a sudden he had got sued by them or something. And I think what was about to happen was he was going to have to pay the money and not own it. That's what I think was going to happen. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to own it. And then he's officially an owner. And then it just went crazy town. It's just downhill, I guess. I don't know what's happening, but it ain't that serious to me. I don't need social media like that. YouTube is for fun. I would love to get paid for it, but right now it is for fun. The channel is not where it needs to be for money yet, but I do know it's going to get there because we're still getting growth every week, and I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest though. Let's say I had a really nice, healthy YouTube channel. I wouldn't even pay $8 for that Twitter handle. I don't think I would, even if I was getting super chats and stuff. I don't think I would. I think people gonna know who you are and where to find you. If you genuine and you have real valuable content, they'll find you.
Yeah, I've seen fan bases all the time just be like, "Hey, this one's fake." Like Ryback be begging for that YouTube check mark, and now he can finally get it.
Yeah, because I don't. Everybody I found, like, I didn't look for the check mark. I just looked for them to keep producing content that looks like it's their content on their page. That's like frequent enough where somebody else couldn't just take it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like when you have like people have like a certain following, like a bigger following, like that kind of gives it away too a little bit, because it's like you wouldn't consistently have like a lot of views on every video if this was the fake channel. I think people would have been found out. Like that's the whole point of
Right.
the views. That's the whole point of the comment section. Like you would have been found out. Plus, if your content, like if you making other type of content, like people gonna leak your content anyway. So, so I mean, yeah, I never checked for that. You know. Plus, if you like bigger, if you really big, like your favorite content creators is gonna make content off of your content anyway, whether it's reactionary or news. So it's not like we really needed the check mark is it's just cringe to me. It's cringe because I don't depend on social media that much anymore. Not even at all. To the point where like that's the validation. It's like no. I'll find my matter of fact, you know this, the audience don't really know this. I follow tiny channels. Ain't no channel gonna be no gonna have no content like that, like or no check marks like that anytime soon anyway. The channels I follow got like 3,000-4,000 subscribers. So that's where I follow. So yeah, I wasn't getting
I
them.
feel like it's not that difficult to find the real channel.
Yeah,
Like it's really not that. I don't need a check mark to confirm
yeah,
it. Like it's for the people who just look up a celebrity and click it like without thinking. It's like you can easily just kind of like
yeah. But even like let's
look. Matter of fact, if you just go to Google and you type in the celebrity's name with like and then like what social media thing you want it on, it'll open directly to there. Like the first search
yeah,
is theirs. Like the only time it's difficult is if you go on Twitter and type in like searching for people, in which case you like I've put in people's exact Twitter handles and it'll be like no results found. And then when I go to
yeah.
Google and I type in the Twitter handle, it's like, oh, you mean this one? Like it's just so it's weird. I was offered a blue check mark at one point. I just didn't log on to Twitter for a month and a half, so I missed it. And like I saw my notifications, it was like, hey, you want to get like you were growing because a bunch of bots were following me, so they thought I was like legit. And they're like, "You're growing. You want a Twitter check mark?" And when I went to go click it, it was like expired.
But what's crazy about it too is like it's only going to be like little creators that's going to probably fall for it. But why would something like
Or clout chasers.
yeah, why would WWE fall for it? Like why would
Yeah,
you need that? You wouldn't need it. Why would AEW need it? You wouldn't need it. Why would they need it? Why would any company need it? None of them would need it. You know, like why would not Nike need it? Nike wouldn't need it either. Like why would like you can go down the list. It's only gonna be like small time people. Like Kanye West. Why would Kanye West need it?
I would be surprised if a bunch of the quote unquote Twitch streamers pay for it.
Yeah.
Not the Twitch streamers, the quotation mark
Yeah.
Twitch streamers. Like they would pay for it.
Well,
But
we can go ahead and end it, man. Any last words? I don't know.
let us know in the chats if what games you've picked up for Black Friday.
Yeah, I actually would like to see that.
I'd love to hear what y'all would play.
I would like to see that too. Yeah, and that's it for me here. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget to wash the back of your ears. And we are out. Peace.